Hi, today we're going to talk about monoecious versus dioecious plants, and through this presentation I'm going to show you the different growth patterns in which they include. So let's begin. The first topic we're going to talk about is monoecious plants. Now, to understand the concept of monoecious, we're going to have to understand its definition, and this is pertaining to the organisms in which both sexes are housed in a single individual that produces both eggs and sperms. Now, this means that a plant will contain flowers that have either male or female sex organs, but they will be located on the same plant. Now, this includes stamens and carpels on separate flowers that are located on the same plant. Okay. Selfing, also known as an inbreeding depression, this process only occurs in monoecious plants that self-pollinate, meaning that stamen and the sticky stigma of the carpel located on the same plant interacts with each other, leading to the production of offspring. Now, this cannot happen in dioecious plants due to them not containing male and female sex organs on the same plant. But let's continue. Okay, so the next topic we're going to talk about is dioecious plants. And to understand the concept of dioecious, we're going to once again have to understand its definition. And this is pertaining to the organisms in which the two sexes are housed into two different individuals, so that eggs and sperms are not produced in the same individual. This type of plant can only include either female or male flowers. Now, what this is saying is that dioecious plants do not contain male and female sex organs on the same plant, such as monoecious. However, they contain male or either female sex organs in the flowers of one plant, and then another plant in a different location contains male or female sex organs in their flowers. The next topic we're going to talk about is wind pollination. Now, due to dioecious plants only containing male or female sex organs, they are required to reproduce differently than monoecious plants. The first example is wind pollination, which are flowers that have sticky feather-like stigmas, which produce a great number of pollen grains from the stamen, or in other words, the male gametophyte, that get carried by the wind to another individual plant of the same species with the opposite sex organ, which in this case is the carpel female sex organ. So in other words, these plants reproduce through wind carrying carpel to the sticky stigma of another plant. Animal pollination is a way of reproduction that works both in monoecious and dioecious plants. It increases the probability that pollen will get to a female gametophyte of the same species. This process includes animals, most likely birds, consuming the necessary organs from plants and later disposing it in another area where the same consumed species flower begins to reproduce. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so now we know the different ways in which monoecious and dioecious plants reproduce. But what happens when the pollen from the stamen lands on the stigma? Pollination occurs and then the pollen grain germinates, causing the pollen tube to grow through the style. The sperm nucleus then travels through the tube generated by the tube nucleus and fuses within an ovule which then develops into an embryo or zygote. This process gives rise to the new offspring. Now we're going to talk about imperfect versus perfect flowers. Imperfect flowers only contain female or male sex organs. These can be found in both monoecious and dioecious plants. However, we have perfect flowers that contains both male and female sex organs, and these can only be found in monoecious plants. All right. So now you have the opportunity to take a quiz and test yourself on the previous slides that we just went over. And to receive accurate answers, just go back to previous slides and look up your answer once you finish this quiz. So this was my presentation of monoecious versus dioecious plants.